Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
And brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports, Thoroughbred Wager and Strategies.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Friday morning. Gorgeous morning here at Saratoga, right in front of Clare Court. Again, if you haven't been up yet, today is the day that humidity is down, the sunshine is out. Lots of great racing this afternoon and a nice show as well. A little bit later on, we'll be joined by Kendrick Carmouche. He had a couple of winners yesterday, first and the last. We'll also talk about his serving up the gumbo earlier this week downtown on behalf of the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. Jack Sisterson comes in a little bit later. He has some stakes runners this afternoon, or later on the weekend, but also up in Woodbine, here in Woodbine. So we'll talk about the stakes runners coming up with Jack a little bit later on. But happy to kick off the show with husband and wife team, David and Gordo Cherie Devaux. Thanks for stopping by this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you join, and always happy to root for locals. And Cherie, you're originally from Saratoga, right?
Originally. Again, I think we go over this every time I come on, where I was born here with my family participating across the street at the harness track. And I grew up in Florida, but it's always fun to come home, and my family is all around here. So nice to get to see everyone. Yeah, and again, it's always fun to root for the locals, certainly. David, you've been in the game for a while now. What is your background, and where did you grow up, and how'd you get into the game for folks who aren't familiar?
So, excuse me, my mother and father have been in the business forever. My father was a jocks agent. He had P-Val, Pink Eye, like a long list of Sandy Hawley. Every time I run into him, I remember when he was staying at the house. And then my mother ran Bobby Frankel's business from probably close to when I was born to the day he passed away. So I got in it from there. I was actually born on the racetrack hospital at Santa Anita. So it was May 15th, Bull Forbes won the Preakness, I believe. So
very good. So that works on the resume. I'm curious, how did you guys meet? Is it like a racetrack meet cute story?
Well, yes. David came in. He works with Lanes End, for Lanes End, and when I was working for Chad, he came in to look at gift box. And so the joke is that we met when he came to see him. It was the gift that keeps on giving.
I like that. And David, you guys are kind of teamed up also. Some horses you go out and buy, the ownership group, Cherie trained some of the horses. I'm curious as to, is there any owner-trainer conflict at dinner time, or is it all left on the racetrack?
I've realized that I have two jobs: to get the horses in the barn, help with the owners that I have, walk the dogs, and she does the training. So we don't have any problems. I know my place.
And Cherie, the rest of the year when we're not up here, we're in a studio down in Albany, and I do a handicapping show in the afternoon. And we have a number of different tracks going, including Kentucky tracks and whatnot. And it's been a nice 2024, certainly for you. And I was just looking, TDN put out a tweet. They described you as fast rising training talent. Mike McAdams' article described it as a breakout year. But in the McAdams article, you were kind of saying, I think last year was maybe more breakout. And I'm just kind of getting to where I anticipated or hoped I would be.
Right. And I think using phrases like that, it's great. It's great to see it a breakout year. In the first couple of years, there were also tweets that were saying, I wonder if she regrets going out on her own, and then COVID. And we've been building slowly, but intentionally. So the way that we've set up, we've grown a bit each year. And it wasn't just this really big year where everything came together. We've been growing, about doubling in size to where we are now, which is about where I'm comfortable running a full stable. Really not looking to really add the numbers. at all. I'm happy where we're at. We've got a great team now on board. And again, that's built over the years.
And where are you based? Where do you move around during the year?
Kentucky. We're Kentucky based. Keeneland is where we are predominantly, with satellites at Churchill and now Ellis. And then we go to Fairgrounds for the winter, and with a couple in Florida. So we're Kentucky based, participate at a lot of Churchill Downs racetracks.
So you have some runners at Ellis during the summer.
Correct.
Are you bouncing back and forth?
Yeah. This year I've added David Carroll on board, which is
I saw that.
a huge asset into our team. So having somebody like David, it's easier to stay up here for a week, but then go home. So I'm trying not to do as much traveling back and forth every single week, but come up here this week, get everything situated, and then go back home and check on everything.
And I assume technology these days plays a big part in being a trainer with horses in different venues. You can kind of check out, workout videos and things for the venue you aren't at. Right,
correct. And videos are one thing, but I have a detail-oriented team behind me, which, I've already looked at a couple of videos from this morning, but also getting the whole picture of a work is important.
Where were you stabled up here?
Oh, we're in barn 21.
You ever used the clear court?
I have in the past when I have a horse that might just need a little respite from the regular racetrack training, but we have made it over there a few times.
So everybody says it's kind of calming for them.
Yeah.
David, you guys are based in Kentucky, but being a bloodstock guy, how many sales do you visit in a year?
I couldn't give you a number, but there's very few that I miss. Like the June sale this year would have been the only sale from the start of the year through June that I didn't attend. And we're adding more like European sales in, so we'll do.
Oh, everybody seems to be, yeah.
I'm kind of proud. I think we were one of the first people to go over there. It was for Ahmed Zayed, who's no longer in the business, and we bought some horses and brought them back. We got a graded stakes winner out of that, and then it started going. And it's a great place to buy horses because there is a declining foal crop, but there's not a declining interest in racing. That's the one thing I've noticed. So you have to have horses, and you got to go source them.
Yeah.
And going over there is great. Those pedigrees fit here. So I don't know how many sales we go to answer your question, but we don't miss too many.
Yeah, Deauville and Goffs, and you see that more and more now. That's becoming a lot more popular, and it seems like they're often very successful when they come over here. You say you go to pretty much all the sales. I was going to ask if it's more yearlings or 2-year-olds, but you're in both.
You know what, we put partnership groups together, and we're different than some of the well-known partnerships, which are more fractional interest on an individual horse. So when Cherie got started, luckily I met a longtime Lane's End client named Paul Manganero. His uncle was Sienna Farm. His father, they had horses. His grandfather, great people. The Manganero family is wonderful. And he wanted a young trainer, and the man that was helping him was retiring. So we all kind of met at the same time, and we put these groups together. And we started with 2-year-olds. That's an area that I love. I think it's a great way to buy a horse if you put the work in. If you just show up, it's fraught with danger. But if you go like we do, I go for 2 weeks, then Cherie comes for 2 days. But we've done all that homework. Yeah. But the yearling sales, it's a purer form because you're buying the horse. You're seeing one less card. You don't see him work. You're kind of making an educated guess on how the horse is going to move and what surface it'll like because of pedigree. But, this year, like we've got Vava as a yearling. And we've got Cagliostro, who I think is a rising star on the dirt out of a 2-year-old sale. We've transitioned more to yearlings, but I'm still a pretty big 2-year-old guy if it's done right.
You're gonna be at the sale. I assume the sale over here, but both sales, the big sale and the New York bred sale as well.
Yeah, we've done really, really well at Saratoga. Flightline, he's like this anomaly.
I was gonna say,
I'm not even
really well. Maybe even an understatement once you have Flightline in the mix.
Well, it's funny. There's a group in England, and they came and pitched Mr. Farish on their data. So they profiled the Saratoga sale over, let's say, 5 years. I can't remember And they said there were this many graded stakes winners out of there. And I said, let me guess. And I named them all. And they said, yeah, how you know it? I said, well, we bought them. So, you know, we've had Flagstaff out of there for John Sadler and Lane's End and Flightline. Great client and friend of mine, Lee Searing. He had Honor AP. And they're all Exalted. These are all Grade 1 winners.
Yeah.
And they've been at all price points. So Saratoga does a wonderful job at bringing a boutique group of horses. But where we have an advantage at a place like Keeneland is its volume. And, you know, we'll look at 1,000 yearlings before they get to the sale. And you can pick and find some weak spots. Up here, it's very hard to buy them. Keeneland is great because they're spread out, and more volume is always to our advantage.
Normally 6 books on something.
Yeah, 6 books.
Yeah,
and
so there's plenty of action for like a week down there.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
No, that's what we
Whereas
do.
it's 2 days up there, and then the New York Brits.
And they don't drink as much in Keeneland as they do at the night sale up here. So
The social aspect is a very big part of it up here, and has been for years. I mentioned years ago when I first became a fan of the game, it was a totally different facility, and the bar out and back was somebody's living room, literally, with a piano player in there. So it has changed now. But I always tell people, if they're just a fan of the game, come up and watch. The backyard is always crowded. It's a lot of fun, and it gives you another aspect on the game. Maybe helps your handicapping too when you look at the bloodlines a little bit. Cherie, I mentioned you're having a great year, and that includes Saratoga. So I thought I'd pull up some of the Saratoga winners. Just let you comment on them. And since it's early in the meet, will we see them again? Going to go back to the 14th. Deep Satin is going to get it done. 3rd career start and breaks the maiden up here at Saratoga. Deep Satin is going to be the number 1 horse under Irad Ortiz. Give us your thoughts on this performance.
So she's a filly that every time she's run 3 times. She's had 2 seconds in a win, and she brings it every time. So, you know, she's one that we might step up into stakes company in her next start. You know, we just have to see. She's just back to the track now. We just have to see her energy level and how she's performing out there. But she's just always been impressive each start, and she finally kicked clear and got it done this time.
As I say, since it's early in the meet, will you look for something up here?
Yeah. You know, there's the Lake Placid. That might be it's 9 furlongs, a little farther. But, you know, it's something that's definitely part of the discussion.
Rebel Red, we have the replay there too. The day before, Rebel Red gets it done. This is a horse that started the career over in Europe, comes over, breaks the maiden down at Churchill, and then steps into the first level allowance and breaks through. Rebel Red's going to be the number 3 horse. And I saw you were the stable tour in the Saratoga Special, and I saw you're contemplating perhaps a little stake for this one as well.
Exactly. He's very well meant. He's a full to without parole, big family. And he's certainly shown in his last 2 races that he does belong up in stakes company. So we're going through a plan right now for him to see the best way to get there without throwing into the deep end of the pool. But he's one that looks like he wants to go farther, which is always a bonus. So we'll just look around for a plan for him, and with that in mind.
And on the stakes side of things, with a horse like this, are you going through a number of condition books and maybe thinking, well, we want to find the right spot, so maybe it's not up here, but let's look and wherever it turns up that you think there's a spot, so you're looking all over the place.
Correct. We keep all options open. Being in Kentucky, being up here, we're centrally located to be able to ship without too much of a hassle, which is very convenient for developing stakes horses or a horse in development, to just try to get them in a steady routine of racing and stepping it up in class each time. So we do keep all options open and have a little bit of a plan in our head, but as we know, the weather or the horse, so just try to give us a couple different options in case one doesn't work out.
Do you guys play at Kentucky Downs? I'm assuming with the money you must look to.
We have to this year.
Yeah, we do. It's so competitive there. Number one, it's a different type of racetrack, so you have to have the right type of horse.
As a handicapper, you don't have to tell me.
Right. And then, it's wildly popular.
Yeah.
So definitely point horses towards it, but you can't really depend on those horses running in it because they're so oversubscribed each race.
I was going to say there's so much money. That's a meet that I think maybe trainers plan back from a little bit and hope you get there. But
yeah, it is. It's an exorbitant amount of money for the races that they're running. And then, going to Churchill and running or Keeneland, the purses are still great there. So if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world.
Got another winner up here on that 13th card, on the 13th, Taking Candy. Again, relatively lightly raced. But this one was impressive. And again, I saw your comments in the stable tour. You weren't really expecting necessarily this kind of performance because this horse hadn't been seen since last year at Saratoga. So this is a nice comeback. The number 10 horse, Taking Candy. Give us your thoughts on the comebacker.
Right. So he's a horse. He's kind of just had a few different issues that we've had to work throughout his career to bring us here. And then when we were getting him back, he ended up having a quarter crack that we lost about a month from. So I figured coming up here, we could get Jose Lascano back on him, back at the track where he'd done well his last two starts, and really thought that he would need a race. Horses run well, but when you put them out there at that distance, I felt like he might have needed a little more foundation to do it. So, we've got to keep that in mind. And we probably are going to give him some time and look at something like maybe the Bernard Baruch for him, an overnight stake. Yeah. Again, just trying to develop him along because he's a horse that's shown a lot of talent almost every time he's run, but just have to pick our spots with him.
If you win like that off a layoff, there's some talent right there off a layoff like that. Now I want to talk about some of the performances we've already mentioned, a couple of them, and see if we can expect them up here. Reading the stable tour, it looks like we can for Cagliostro. I pulled up the Hanshin back on the 30th of June. Cagliostro, a horse I've liked throughout the career, but this is a nice win. Down at Churchill most recently. And again, I saw at the stable tour, Cagliostro is going to be the number 9 out in front right there. I saw perhaps the 4 go.
Yeah. There's different options for him. I think he's most effective at the 1 turn or at the 1 turn distance. And it's really hard to tell. He had run well, had a lot fast speed figures, and ran in a lot of big races as a 3-year-old against restricted company. So this year he came back training well. The addition of the blinkers, I think, has really helped him and the maturity of it because he was happy to go up there, but he wouldn't push through as a 3-year-old. This year he's shown a different dimension. His last 2 races or 3 races, he's been up on the pace or close to it. So definitely shows a different dimension that's more effective for him. The 7 furlongs for the 6 furlongs going to be too short. So, we're really keeping in mind that 7 furlong, one turn distance in the 4 go for him.
As a trainer, is that a surprise sometimes as horses get older, their strategy changes?
Yeah. Well, and you hope to, he's had a great year, start of the year. And then we have a horse like Pyrenees who, didn't really show much as a 2-year-old and got injured and came back as a late almost 4-year-old and just was a completely different horse in training and out on the track. So I think a takeaway for a trainer, young trainer, or, owners as a whole, there's a whole lot more of a career ahead of them than there is just from 2 to 3.
Also wanted to look at Brilliant Birdie. This is a subcategory for folks who watch me. They know I love the 3-year-olds on the turf because, as I say, all year long, there's a race at almost every venue for these 3-year-olds on the turf, stakes-wise. And Brilliant Birdie steps into stakes company for the first time in the American Derby down at Churchill, going to be the number 8 horse here. Unfortunately, reading the stable tour, it sounds like you're thinking more Colonial than Saratoga with the Hall of Fame, but give us your thoughts on Brilliant Birdie.
Yeah, so Brilliant Birdie's one, again, just took a while to come to hand. And barring his first out effort at Fairgrounds, he just has really put together his career in quick order. He's shown a lot.
This is a nice win.
Yeah, he's shown a lot. It's kind of a neat horse, a homebred for the Kleins, who are Louisville staples, so it was great for them to win. We were just as strategy, Richard Klein kind of asked that we would keep in mind the Secretariat, and you have a horse like him, anywhere you go, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
And I think that suits him just fine.
Yeah. So again, we'll get to see him potentially up here, but we'll be running
maybe
in the
next
weeks
year.
ahead. Yeah, we'll look forward to it, because again, I love those 3-year-olds, and we have a couple of nice ones up here as well, and the Hall of Fame being one of them. As I say, I'm down in the studio handicapping most of the year, and Preakness weekend, that's when I said, I'm going to have to get Cherie in up at Saratoga. And I put together a little montage here, and the guys will run it. The day before the Preakness Black-Eyed Susan Friday, I just want to get your reaction on the day and the performances. We're going to see Shotgun Hottie winning the DuPont Distaff. She feels pretty winning the Hilltop, and then the aforementioned Pyrenees wins the Storied Pimlico Special. A big weekend, a big Triple Crown weekend, and you win 3 stakes races. Just give us how that felt at the end of the day.
Well, when I say surprise, not in they all came from nowhere. It's just very rare that you have 3 horses that you're pointing to races, and they're all getting ready at the same time, and they're all on the same day. So it just kind of was a culmination of that. The horses were ready. Those were the races we had picked out and discussed for them. So when they all fire and you have a good feeling about them, that really is special. And it just goes, again, it's not just me, it's a whole team effort, and everybody has had their hand in all of these horses on our team. So it was really special to be able to share with them and to share with each separate clients. And it's a great, to go out there and just have a day like that on a big stage.
3 stakes. That was fun. Like I said, we'll have Cherie to talk about this, because that was, again, I had said, as we've alluded to earlier in the year, when I'm handicapping, I looked at one of your horses, I said, Cherie's having a pretty good year. And then that put kind of the exclamation point on things, certainly. And I wanted to, I'm going to get to David again with a couple of thoughts in a minute before we wrap up on your horse. First of all, Shotgun Hottie is going to be Sunday, right?
Yep. So she's entered on Sunday to run in the Shoe V. She's arrived in good order. We contemplated the Molly Pitcher again, but this is definitely a bit of a softer spot. And again, you're trying to develop, and for a horse like her, a mare now like her, the Breeders' Cup's definitely the end of the year goal. So we're just trying to get her there in the best way possible.
And again, just before I shift gears, I want to go back, and we're going 1 race back here, but what has to be, I'm assuming, a favorite in the barn. I wanted to look at Vava, and I wanted to pull up the Grade 1. So this is 1 race back. We're going to look at the Derby City Distaff and Vava, and looking at the stable tour, it looks like game plan will be we will see Vava up here at Saratoga.
Yep. So again, when we're strategizing at the beginning of the year, the key races that we are trying to hit, the Derby City Distaff was 1, the Ballerinas the next, and obviously the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint is the 3rd one. So, she's been a really special horse to me. It's kind of the first one that we bought at a sale, and I had just a connection with. I love all my horses, but she was one that was just identified herself early. I mean, early even before the saddle went on, that I really just liked her. And she's just been neat. She's one that has taken some time to get to this point, but she's rewarded us with the patience.
And again, you're going to look for the start up here a little bit later in the meet.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, fabulous racehorse and easy to root for. So glad we're going to see Vava up here. And before we wrap up, David, I pulled up a couple of replays to again, we've kind of alluded to it already earlier, but I pulled up a little video from the auction right up here at Saratoga. We will see Flightline go for $1 million, but some years prior, we will see what I think maybe put you on the map. 2005, we'll see Zenyatta go for $60,000. Talk about the game, and as I say, I think Zenyatta with a $60,000 price probably puts you on the map. But talk a little bit about these 2 horses and how you wound up getting the success at the sales with these 2.
It's kind of, so when I was younger and I said, okay, how do I get from, I have a resume where I'd worked and done all these things to where, you're at the upper echelon where when you walk into a room with anybody in the world, you're a pick 'em. This person
Yeah.
isn't 10 points better than you. And I decided, well, you have to get lucky when you're younger and prove you can do it. And it's the same with training or a stallion or a mare. If you get something going early in your career, and Zenyatta was a blessing because, excuse me, I learned so much from the experience. So, every time Zenyatta ran, she cost 60 grand, so there was no pressure from the purchase price. But as she became Zenyatta, I don't think John Sheriff's ever felt the pressure because he doesn't. But I did because every race meant something, not only because it was like a family thing, and then you have a horse of a at that moment a lifetime maybe, and then what she meant to the industry. But for me, I was like, okay, each race, I didn't think I appreciated what was going on. And then I remember calling John Sadler and I said, listen, after Flightline began to become Flightline, I said, there's very little I can ever tell you that you don't already know. But I have one thing I can tell you. This horse isn't going to be around forever. Deal with the pressure of training them and all the things that go with it, but appreciate every day you have with them because they're so rare. And, to have a Zenyatta on my resume, buying it. And again, I'm a link in the chain. Not the most important link by any means, but it starts with us, and then how they manage it. It proved we can do it. And the first time, all the people want to, man, you got lucky and all this, and then you get the next one, and you have some accelerates and horses like that in between. It's a proof of concept, and it's my business, same as Cherie's as a trainer. You get one, they go, eh. But when you start doing it repeatedly, you're putting it together. You've got a good program, and both horses meant a lot to me, and I'm hoping for a third one for us. Because that would kind of
Oh, absolutely.
tie it all together. And I, not being like Disney here, I believe it'll happen because we have a good program, and my job is to find the talent in horses and people. And I think we've done that with Cherie's business, with her being the talent and the horses back in the barn. So I have, it's all been really great. And, some people don't want to hear that, but that's really what it is.
I doing the research for the show last night. I was looking up both of you, and there was an article on David. I think it was on America's Best Racing, maybe, and I think it was Tom Padula. And it starts out and it says, you got the horse of a lifetime in Zenyatta, and then 2 paragraphs down, and then you got the second horse of a lifetime. So how do you get 2 horses of a lifetime? Come on, leave a little room for somebody else.
No, you know what? I hate to say it, I'm greedy that way. If we can get one more,
the third
then,
horse
then I'll back off everybody. But
very good. Well, maybe you'll find them up here this year. And just quickly, for folks who aren't familiar, how would you define what a bloodstock agent does?
I like analogies. So I would say it's like your talent scout for whether it's your college team or a pro team. You're out there scouting the players, which are the horses, for your coach, which is your trainer.
Yeah.
And I've always worked best in a situation where I know what the trainer's like because, John Sheriff, John Sadler, and Cherie might all look at a horse differently because their programs are different, but I like the horse. So you try to put the horse with the right trainer. Yeah. And I think that's a very important component. People ask me to buy horses, and if I'm just the one link and then they go and do their own thing, we've never been as successful. I think my whole success is because of the trainers I've worked with, and I've worked with some great ones over the years, and that's why I'm able to talk about it, because I don't think Zenyatta or Flightline, they were just destined for their trainers probably. Like, Vava, I don't think she'd be the same horse without Cherie's management. And I mean that sincerely, not because it's my wife, but trainers make these horses more than bloodstock agents. We have a job and we do it, but it's not magic. What the trainers do and the daily decisions. John Sheriff made thousands of decisions on Zenyatta, and he didn't make any bad ones. To get the horse from there to there. After I bought him, Flightline had a little more to do with, because until he got the Saddler, he had a lot of ups and downs, which were sadly always on my plate to deal with. But, you know, once they get there, these trainers have to do it. So.
Well, David, we wish you a lot of good luck at the sales up here. Maybe you come up with another flight line. Who knows? We'll keep our fingers crossed. And Cherie, good luck the remainder of the meet up here. And again, it's been a great first step into 2024. So keep up the good work. Thanks for stopping by this morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we'll take a break. I saw Kendrick moving around. I don't see him now, but Kendrick Carmouche up next if he is in the green room as it is. Jack Sisterson also up shortly, so stay tuned for all of that as we continue. We'll be back in a moment.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now by our friend Kendrick Carmouche. Always fun to talk to Kendrick, and perfect timing after a big day yesterday up at Saratoga, and also earlier in the week. We'll talk a little bit about the food festival, as it were. Kendrick, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Happy to have you on board to talk a little Saratoga action, and always like to, because again, we get people who are maybe new to the game, aren't familiar with some of the players. Always like to get a little background for folks who are maybe new in it, and just get to know people and get to know some of the players. So talk a little about how you got into the game, how you became a jockey, and eventually how you now based in New York.
I come from Louisiana. My dad was a jockey.
I wouldn't have never guessed it with the accent.
My dad was a jockey, and you know, he was a very good jockey in Louisiana. He just never left Louisiana, but he pretty much just told me just pay attention and listen as I grow up, and if you need to know something that you really think you need to know, you ask. But other than that, just pay attention. And you know, he was a good teacher. He's a good person, very respectful, and I think a lot of things that he taught me along the way got me where I'm at today with the success that I have.
So you started in Louisiana. Were you bouncing around? Did you start, like, when I hear stories of Louisiana, they're like unofficial kind of races going on? Were you playing in that game too?
Well, I tried the bush tracks once, and since I was the baby of the family, I kind of was like, you know, mom and daddy just let me do whatever, you know. So, you know, I wrote one race on the bush track, and it worked out really good. I never broke out the gate before. It was my first time breaking out the gate, and you know, my dad was in the gate with me, and one of my family members' best friend was pulling the gate, and my dad told me, you do this, you do that, and you're gonna be okay. And man, I broke out the gate nice and good, and after that I rode the race. But I told my dad I never want to do this again on the bush track. You know, I was a little, you know, anything can go on the bush track. Ain't no stewards on the bush track, you know. So, you know, that kind of made me a little hard. But my dad had us with Shetland ponies when we was younger, and they some of the meanest little ponies you can ever ride. So I fell a lot on those, and I got bitten a lot on those, and I think that was some of the things that taught me how just to stay on pretty good. And you know, my dad always told me respect everybody in life, and be respectful, and good things gonna come to you.
That's important. So then you moved on to the Louisiana tracks. You know, talk a little bit about.
I started at Delta Downs. I rode a couple races at Delta Downs as an apprentice jockey. They gave me my license, and then I started. Then we went to the Evangeline, where I won my first race on Erlen Aaron, one of my family members. He trained horses, so I rode the horse for him. And my mom was my agent. My mom was a very good agent whenever she was there. And I think just then after I left Louisiana, I went to Sam Houston. I done really good with my apprenticeship in Sam Houston. I had like 6 months left with my apprenticeship, and Randy Allen and Jack Service was in Philadelphia, and Randy Allen knew my parents from Texas and been in Louisiana. So they called it, and my mom always told me, never pass up on the opportunity. And then I went to Sam Houston. I done really good. I jumped on the plane 5 days before my birthday when I turned 17 to go to Philadelphia, and I won my first race off the plane that day for Freddie Velasquez. Firebone was the horse name. I mean, things just been going good ever since I left home, and I had a good teacher. I had my mom and my dad to teach me the correct way in life, and just be happy and good things come to you, you know.
You were a mainstay down in Philadelphia for a while.
Yeah, I love Philly. Yeah. You know, Philly is my home, you know. I love New York. I made a very good name in parks and over the years, and won some championships, 7 out of 8. And I thought it was time to move on to push my ability and make my career a little bit better, and show my kids that I can be successful on a higher stage. And this is what I'm doing now, you know. And I love my sport. I love the sport of kings, you know. I love these ponies, you know. They make me feel so good when I'm on top of them, you know, and to know that you can go out there and do anything you want to win a race.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue. We'll go, as they say, perfect timing. We have you in after a couple of wins, the opener and the closer yesterday, and I pulled up a replay of the first race. It's going to be Smoking Hot Kitty. I had Jason Brinkman from America's Pastime Racing in yesterday, and a couple hours later he goes over and their team wins the opener with Smoking Hot Kitty. We're watching the replay here. I was sitting back here. I was doing some work right here, and I had pulled up Saratoga Live, the Fox show, and Rajiv is on, Rajiv Murad, and he said, as a jockey, This is the kind that are a lot of fun. You get to the top of the stretch, you realize you have another gear, and you just gearing down here. Talk a little bit about the win in the opener yesterday.
Oh, she's such a sweetheart. You know, I got to give everything to Horacio DePass and his team. They found the nick with this filly. She went on the grass, but I think Horacio really feels like she didn't improve that much better in her numbers on the dirt. And the distance. I think she's just a galloper, and she can quicken whenever you ask her. So that can beat a lot of horses going a mile in the 8. And she's fun to ride. She got a Stinching Cup blinker. She has all the equipment, and it's all in your hands how you want them to adjust to them. And I think I think she adjusted to me pretty good. We 3 for 4 now.
Yeah, you've been the regular for the last few, doing very well. And then the closer yesterday, Jeremiah Engelhardt, having a good start to the meet. You were on board for him on Hey Toby. We're going to watch the replay here. The number 3 horse. Talk a little bit about the win in the finale yesterday.
Well, I go to the paddock, talk to Jeremiah. I'm really best friends with Marshall Graham and his.
This was a 10 strike course.
Yes, and his partners. Clay and all of them, they've been supporting my career since I was in Philadelphia when they first started becoming a owner. And this horse here,
did he get past? Did you have to come back a little bit?
He headed me at the top of the lane, but my horse pretty much fought on to win. Jeremiah's starting off hot.
Yeah.
He's very good when he comes to this meet and other meets, but I think he tried to put on much of a show as he can as a trainer to get more business, and I'm just glad I'm part of it.
Yeah, that was nice. As they say, nice day, bookends.
Bookends.
The opener and the closer.
Yes,
so
sir.
Always nice. The first we're in the first week and a half. If you count the short week, the first few days of the meet. Nice day like that is very good. Tomorrow, I believe you're going to be out of town, correct? You're in Fort Washington tomorrow. I took a look at the last race from Fort Washington. You were on board. This is the Monmouth Stakes. Fort Washington is the number 7 horse. That one tomorrow on the big day at Monmouth will go in the United Nations. Talk about your thoughts on Fort Washington.
Suge, you're riding for Suge McGee. He's a distance trainer. He prepares horses for these type of races. He ran such a good race last time. Suge told me he ran on a soft turf course in Churchill. He didn't like it, so I pretty much threw that race out. If you throw that last race out he ran in Churchill and look at his paper from there, I thought I could have been 1-2 in the race at Monmouth. And as you can see, we was victorious that day. And, we're going to the United Nations, pretty much the same horses, a little bit further distance. But, I worked with him the other morning. He worked beautiful in Saratoga. So, we're going into it with 100%, and we're gonna see if we can go get that United Nations tomorrow.
You're bang a win in the prep. You come in with at least a little bit
of confidence. We're coming with momentum, which means a lot in our sport.
And I wanted to go back because you were out of town last week. It was Millions Preview Day at Colonial. They had a little weather. So there were some scratches and whatnot, but the folks at West Point, our friends at West Point with Integration, stuck in the race. You went down and jumped on board. We'll look at Integration here, winning the Millions Preview. And I guess I had talked to Terry Finley. I guess the game plan is to come back, obviously, in the Millions. So give us your thoughts on Integration. Nice little talented turf runner.
Yeah, I think Suge gonna go to that Arlington Million race, but I think the prep that he done the other day, the way he came home on a soft turf course, I think in 4 weeks we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. He's such a classy horse. I think he had fell back a little bit and didn't adjust to going to Gulfstream and these places and shipping around, but I think Suge got him back where we need him to win a Grade 1, and I'm just glad that I'm going to be aboard him to do that.
Yeah, it looked good. Again, that was last week, so you're out of town last Saturday, out of town again tomorrow. Talk a little bit about the jockey's life when you're traveling around like that.
Yeah, listen, you got to I've been riding for 22 years now. I've been trying to get better horses, better quality horses, so sometimes you got to take a day and go ship somewhere to win a Grade 1 or a Grade 2, and it's just that's how you build things. It is the life of a jockey. You got to ship to win sometime, and sometimes you can't win in town, so you got to go ship to win to bring the momentum back. But I love it. I love it. I love going to see my friends at different tracks because everybody know each other in the horse industry. So
oh, and I saw the picture of you down in Columbia. It was Ralph Sampson, right?
yes, Ralph Simpson, the Hall of Famer. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, that was the news of Virginia. For still now, you know, everybody's still calling. You know, it's just a joy. I love what I do. I love the ponies.
And speaking of loving what you do, before we let you go, I had to pull up and talk a little bit about last Monday. I didn't make it. I make it every year. This year I got caught up and I just couldn't make it. But I will vouch for the gumbo is very good down at Principessa Elena, the social club over on the west side. Every year they have Kendrick Carmouche in cooking up the gumbo, and it was a popular event again this year. Sold out. Benefits the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. As I say, I couldn't make it, but it looked like everybody as happy this year as they have been in years past. And I can vouch for the gumbo because, as I say, I've been there in previous years.
Yes, I'm just very grateful for all the people that shows up year after year. The last 4 years I've done it. They support our retired horses. They love them. They want to see them go to a different life after this and do something different. And that means a lot to me and my family and our industry. You know, we've been highly supporting these animals after they leave horse racing for the last 10, 15 years. It's only getting better. So many supporters come to this gumbo and just, you know, they realize how much I really love my horses and how much we really have to do for these horses, and that makes the human in the heart that much better, you know.
And I can vouch for you as well. You in previous years you worked the room a little bit, and there's sincerity and just a fun evening. So I'll tout that for next year. Keep the gumbo cook on the calendar for next year. But Kendrick, appreciate the visit this morning. Certainly. Good luck tomorrow at Monmouth in the United Nations, but good luck the rest of the meet up here as well. We appreciate the visit this morning.
Thank you very much. Let's go get them, baby. Louisiana in the house.
All right, we'll take a break. Jack Sisterson is in the house as well. We'll talk with him. He has some stakes runners coming up this weekend here and at Woodbine. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, live from Saratoga, on really a gorgeous Saratoga morning. Happy to be joined now, as we promised before the break, Jack Sisterson, with some stakes runners this weekend, not only here, but coming up at Woodbine as well. We'll talk about that and more. Jack, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And, you know, talking to you, as people recognize as you talk a little more, you have an accent, and we always like to get a little background from folks. How'd you get into the game?
I grew up around it at a small age, at a very small level. It was a passion of mine from day one. As a lot of people say in this business, once it's in the blood, good luck. That's the only future you have. So here I am sitting here now.
It's kind of the same on the handicapping side.
Yeah.
Particularly if you hit your first horse.
Yeah.
If you cash your first ticket, you're stuck.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
Durham, England, northeast of England. Biggest town would be probably Newcastle. Racing town would be Midland, York, that sort of area.
So did you start your career over there?
No, I was left home when I was young. Not sure if my parents liked that or not. And I went to the University of Louisville.
Oh, wow.
Started 2004 and went through the equine administration degree there, and hot walked for Todd Pletcher at Churchill, and everything else fell into place after that.
That's interesting. So you're over in Europe and you wind up at the University of Louisville. Was that you wanted to be in the horse program?
No, I did. Well, I wanted to be a jockey.
Oh, okay.
But I was better.
That didn't work out.
You know. But I was better at soccer. And so my dream then was to try and turn professional. When got to that age, I got released and was fortunate, got offered a soccer scholarship.
Oh, nice.
At the University of Louisville.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to have that ambition to turn professional, but I wasn't good enough, and injuries and so on and so forth. And when I got offered the scholarship at Louisville, didn't know that they offered the equine program as well. And flying in there in the official visit, I saw Churchill Downs and the university there, and I was like, well, this is going to be great.
That's what. So did you play soccer the whole 4 years?
3 years. And you don't laugh at me. The last year I tried to kick on the football team because I had 2 knee surgeries my junior year. So they transitioned me over, and it was a fantastic experience. And one to where if I look back at it now, probably wouldn't be sitting here now if it wasn't for the University of Louisville. So forever grateful for them.
So the last year you were kicking for the football team? You were kicking like extra points?
No,
and field goals?
more so kickoff. That it was like, and I was starstruck. You know, I didn't know how to put the equipment on and things like that. And it was, if you can say someone's lived an American dream, I've lived it, because you watch American movies and everything's bigger and better, and you don't really understand it until you're here and you see the college lifestyle. And I lived that, and the opportunities too. You know, I think the US is full of opportunities if you're willing to take them and go with them. And I'm in love with the US now and don't see myself going back.
That's a wild story. You went for soccer and then transitioned over for kickoffs, and now you're training. Give us you're based up here in the summertime, right?
We are, yes.
So what is your circuit during the rest of the year?
Well, you know, last year we went from Palm Meadows, Florida to Kentucky to here, then same route back down to Florida. This year we only shipped in to run at Churchill. One of the reasons being, you know, we'd like to have a stable there in Kentucky, but we know how big it's getting, and we're trying to grow. So we thought we'd just leave horses in Florida and then go straight to up to Saratoga. So that's what we've done this year, is Florida and Saratoga.
When you sat down, you said you're based over in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, yes.
How do you like that? They renovated they expanded the track a couple of years ago. You have the turf course over there to work on as well. How do you like being over on the other side?
You can put me anywhere in Saratoga and I'm going to like it. So that question is pretty simple to answer. Yeah. The main thing you see from, you know, been in the barn and day in and day out is how happy the horses are up here. You know, you send some horses, and no knock on different tracks, but, you know, they might be close to a city and just the environment. And you really do see horses change up here for the better. Humans as well. It's just an all-around good place to be.
Yeah, totally agree. And I always say the beauty of Saratoga, first of all, as a trainer, it's fun if you win up here, because I think the crowd is so knowledgeable. Horses come back after a big performance, and so it's got to be fun on the training and owning side of things. But also the fun is outside the fence. You go downtown at night, eat dinner, and the people in the next table are, hey, I had the double today.
Yeah,
it's so racing centric.
That's what racing needs, and it's really, credit to Saratoga to put on that type of product.
And I also pulled up, as I was looking at your record and whatnot last night, I pulled up because you have had some very nice Saratoga Stakes success, and I pulled up one of those, the Grade 1 from 2020, Vexatious, gets it done to win the personal ensign, the Grade 1 personal ensign. You've also, over the years, won the Vanderbilt with Lexingtonian. Channel Cat won the Bowling Green up here, as well as a number of other nice stakes races. But just give us some memories of some Grade 1 victories up here, like this one, Vexatious in the personal ensign.
It's a big team effort in our barn, and I don't want to, focus this on me, but it was a big barn effort that day, and just been able to compete in a type of race like the personal ensign. Been young, you read the history about race like you're competing against like Shug McGahey, all these trainers that have been there and done that. It was humbling, and at the quarter pole, I actually thought we were going to win. People might have thought Midnight Pursuit loomed up alongside and was going to go on by, but the thing with Vexatious, when a horse engaged with her, that would be the problem, and that was the best thing for our horses, Midnight Pursuit, actually engaging with her close, which what happened, and we found a little bit extra late, and it was a pretty special moment for us, and credit to all the guys back at the barn for getting the filly in top shape to win.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it, because it is worth mentioning. You beat Midnight Pursuit that day at 35 cents on the dollar on the favorite, and you wound up winning by a neck there. A nice Grade 1 victory at Saratoga. We have some in tomorrow in the Lake George. One's on the AE list, so we'll see if that one gets in. But let's start out with Devauxs. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Devauxs, we're going to take a look. I went a couple races back. I went back to the Sanibel Island at Gulfstream. Subsequently was third in a stakes race down in New York. But we're going to look at the victory 2 starts back for Devauxs, the number 4 horse under Javier Castellano. Give us some thoughts on Saturday, tomorrow in the Lake George for Devauxs.
We're actually looking forward to cutting a backing trip to the mile.
Okay.
The Wonder Again, 9 furlongs. We had to try. It was, for us as a barn, it was where do we move forward after the Sanibel Island, and she's going in the right direction. If she would have potentially won the Wonder Again, we would have obviously ran her in the Belmont Oaks and stretched out again. She got caught out distance-wise. She loomed up to go and win the race, and she flattened out. So the next stop, obviously logical spot, was look for the mile races.
And the Sanibel Island, the one we just looked at, was 7.5.
7.5.
Which down there's 2 turns.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's similar to
absolutely,
tomorrow.
yeah. So, and she's quite a versatile filly. Again, we had to try the 9 furlongs. We won't try that again. We'll concentrate on the mile type of races, and she's never put a foot wrong since we got her. She really hasn't. She hasn't been off the board, and she acts like a filly that's kind of maturing at the right time and understanding the American style of racing, because it's completely different. So we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Started the career over in Europe, and I don't know if I've ever asked a trainer that before. When you bring one over from Europe, and it is different over there, what's the process like of getting the horse used to the American way of racing?
People used to always tell me, surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to explain to my staff what to do. And I have a very close group of people in Europe that recommend types of horses to come to the US. If it wasn't for those guys recommending, I'm sitting here in the US just actually watching, looking at charts, looking at replays, guessing basically. But I got the call from Emmett Mullins that used to have the filly in Paul Byrne, who used to own her, and said, I think this filly will suit America. She's got a good mind, she's got speed, she's tactical, perfect send her over. So that's 90% of the battle, is getting the right type to come. And I think you can ask any trainer that trains, what is it that simply get fast horses? Don't change, someone said about a feed program, or someone said about it. It's if you feed faster horses, don't worry about what you feed. So if you get the right type of horse to come to the US, it's pretty a simple transition. You can either run them off the plane, or you give them a couple of weeks, a month to acclimatize. But if you got the right type of horse, it's pretty simple.
And this one certainly has seemed to be the right type of horse. So live in the Lake George tomorrow. You have another one. This one's 3 deep on the AE list. We'll see if In Our Time makes it in. But I did pull up a replay Again, going back to Gulfstream, May 19th. In Our Time is going to wind up running second in here behind Majestic Venezuela. Subsequently ran ninth in the Coronation Cup just a couple of weeks ago, the Belmont meet up here. And as I say, In Our Time up against a little bit, being 3 deep on the AE list. But what are your thoughts if she does scratch in?
You know, she came out the most recent race in great shape. She was energetic. She was alert. She ate up. So I thought she kind of got a bad trip stuck down on the rail, and she wasn't able to run. You know, so it was a pretty easy race in her. Wheeled her back on short rest, thinking she was going to get in the body of the race, and she could potentially be the only pace in the race because she's coming out of a sprint. But things in life tend to not go your way. But you know what? We'll look forward, not backwards.
Anything in the book for later in the meet?
You know, she's got some deceit. She's still got this starter condition. So we might look to get ahead in front there and just get a win under her belt again and regroup after that.
And I mentioned at the top of the show, you also have a stakes runner at Woodbine tomorrow. Nice stakes start at Woodbine as well. We're headed up in September, friends with all the folks up at Woodbine. They have the Trillium up there, and you have Ocean Club entered. I pulled up a replay of the Monroe. Again, a couple starts back for Ocean Club, but we get to see the win. Runs first as the number 3 horse. Subsequently, this one ran 5th. A few weeks ago down at Monmouth in the Eatontown, but it's been working up here at Saratoga and aimed for Woodbine tomorrow. What are your thoughts on Ocean Club?
We're excited to get her back on the Tapeta tomorrow. You know, she's unbeaten on it. That was kind of, you know, she's a listed winner already. And I got to thank Glen Hill for being so supportive of our program. And they've got well-bred horses that can, you know, take our barn potentially to the next level. And, you know, getting that Grade 3 win tomorrow would be a good addition to her value as a broodmare. She's shown down in Gulfstream she likes it to Peter, and it was a strangely ran race at Monmouth for her because they went so slow early, and she was kind of fighting against it, where she just wants to let run and be happy, and she can go a lot quicker. She can breathe more efficiently instead of just been held on to a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, she breaks running and she gets into a comfortable, quicker pace there, and she shows that she can take them all around her.
Again, getting on a surface she prefers. And so how many condition books do you look at normally?
A few that, you know, the good thing we've been on the East Coast and there's several tracks. There's options there, and you're not limited to one track. So it's actually good when you pick up and look at a few.
And you have one in, I appreciate you being here right now because you do have one in the opener coming up. So we'll get you wrapped and get you over to your barn. But in the opener today, you have Gene and Jude, first time starter by Kitten Shoy, going 5.5 on the grass. What are your expectations in the opener?
You know, we decided to scratch him this one. It just didn't eat up, so we're going to look for another race in the next buck.
Okay, I hadn't seen the scratches yet, so.
But we do like him, so watch out for him next time.
Okay, all right. Good to hear. Good to know. Anybody else we should know about on the?
We actually like our T-roll in the first race tomorrow.
Okay.
It's one that we kind of bought with the intentions potentially this could be a Saratoga type of horse. And I asked the ownership group, which is kind of cool because one of the part owners is the exercise rider in the mornings. People that want to kind of do more in the sport, you know, if they want to get more involved, you know. People give me opportunities, so I want to try and give back. So we give him a rundown at Gulfstream, knowing he wasn't going to be fit, with the intention of being fit and ready to go on the 16th for P at Saratoga. So we're looking forward to him.
Helicity. Tyler Gaffleone, who's got a little hot yesterday, so that's a bonus. And purchased at Ocala March. Do you go to the sales?
I do, yeah. You know, we try and you know, pick up one or two. You know, you got to be. You got to do your homework and things like that, and thankfully we've got some great people that, you know, put lists together and things like that, and a small group of owners that are willing to purchase, which is helpful.
Participate up here at all?
We would, yes.
Yeah.
I might need to win the lottery up here to be able to afford it.
It's a little bit different than Ocala in March, but the New York bred sale, though, you know, playing around with the New York breds, the weekend
exactly.
sale. Is
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely be looking at both sales.
Jack, really appreciate your visit this morning. And again, looking forward to seeing the runners tomorrow, runner and maybe runners in the Lake George. And Wishing you a lot of good luck on the Meet Beyond as well, but we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you very much.
All right, we will wrap it up here for this edition of Racing Across America. Don't forget today at the Clubhouse Racebook, there's a knockout challenge. In about an hour, we'll open up entries for the Pick 3 bankroll online. Fan Appreciation Day today at the Bridgeport branch. So keep all of that in mind for this afternoon. And again, you recommend to come up today, right?
Absolutely.
To me, this is the best day so far.
Oh,
the humidity has come
yeah.
down. It's a gorgeous afternoon up here at Saratoga. So if you're thinking about it, swing on out. But I'll wrap it up for the Friday edition. We'll be back in tomorrow, Saturday, to kick off a big weekend of racing. 9 a.m. handicapper support, 10 a.m. Racing Across America. We'll see you then.
Turn your love of racing into savings with equine discounts through the NTRA. Purchase through equine discounts and receive great savings on well-known brands like John Deere, Sherwin-Williams, Big Ass Fans, Farmers Insurance, and Office Depot. Join thousands of other equine members and support companies that give back to the sport we all love. Call 866-678-4289 or visit equinediscounts.com to start saving today.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
And brought to you by Wizard Race and Sports, Thoroughbred Wager and Strategies.